This is a review of the variety Ambrosia. I am in Southern California. It's the first week of January right now. I picked this about 10 days ago, so I was a little bit concerned when it took quite a bit of time to ripen. The fruit's pretty nice size. It's almost a pound and a half in size. Started out pretty green with the red blush, but now there's yellow splotches. There's yellow everywhere with some green splotches. The tip is, gives when I push it. It hasn't developed much of a smell. It's just kind of like a hint of some of the classic kind of Florida smell in mango, but not much of it. It's not strong or anything like that. And one side of it's beginning to wrinkly, so usually I kind of like to not see that. I kind of like to see it kind of more just turn yellow and then, turn color in a more shorter period of time. So I was a bit concerned if this gets too overripe, so that's why I am going ahead and tasting this right now. Everything kind of gives. So Ambrosia, there's not much information on this variety out there. From what I know is that it is a keat seedling and with a most likely pollinating parent of East Indian. I really like the shape of how the tree and how vigorous it's growing for me. I grafted a branch in 2022, and it is quite a vigorous growing tree. So I really like the shape of the tree and the vigor it has. It flowered and fruited, held on to fruits, and still sent out like vegetative growth. So that's really promising here in California, since everything kind of grows really slower, and usually when stuff does bloom and fruit, it just kind of stops any kind of vegetative growth at all. So we'll see. I'm gonna cut this and see how it tastes. I don't really have that high an expectation for it. I'm just hoping that it produces a pretty decent quality mango. I suspect that it's more of a sounds like it might be more of a classic flavored mango with a kind of terpene finish. So very kind of nice looking fruit. So go ahead and cut this. Nice yellow flesh, and when I cut it, it does have a strong terpenes. Not the kind of perfumey Indian terpenes, but just kind of like the terpenes, almost like a kind of like similar to like some of the guava mango and that I've smelled before. So really nice yellow flesh. Okay, let's taste this. This is a pretty good mango, so it's a little bit surprising. Uh, kind of met some of the expectations I had for it, and even a little bit more. So it definitely does have a classic kind of Florida mango taste to it, and it does have the Indian finish. So it kind of reminds me almost like a, you know, a mix between like a classic Florida mango taste, and you mix it with like say a Saint Talone slash guava mango. So lots of sub-acid taste to it. Sweet, but like has that sub-acid component that lots of the Florida mangoes has. Lots of the stone fruits, but because of the terpenes, it kind of reminds me of a bit of, you know, the tropical kind of guava kind of smell and taste to it. The peel is edible. There's no astringency to it, no odd taste or no bitterness to it, but it is very, very thick. So a very, very thick peel. Because of that, it's not as easy to chew just because it's so kind of rough, but you could kind of scrape it a bit. Yeah, no off taste to it. Only thing, just hard to eat because the peel is so tough. Overall, I'm pretty pleasantly surprised by this. Especially since I love these terpenes kind of smell to it, and I love like a classic Florida tasting mango too. So it has the sweetness, the acidity, you know, lots of the kind of peach flavored, stone fruit flavored components of a classic Florida mango, but with the terpenes of something that reminds me of a guava mango. So it's like this light kind of components of the guava mango to it, and because of that, it kind of adds a bit of tropical components to it. In terms of flesh, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, those Kents and Keats and stuff flesh. It's you know, it's not like leaking juice everywhere. It kind of holds up to that if you kind of like that versus kind of like the very juicy mango. I mean, I like them both way. I like a very juicy kind of variety, and also I like the ones that kind of like doesn't leak juice too, you know. So this one, I mean, it's juicy. It's just that it doesn't kind of leak juice everywhere. I mean, I love it as it is now, but I'm not sure if it does get any sweeter or anything like that. Just because when this ripened, the wrinkles, the skin started wrinkling versus kind of just not wrinkling, but it's a sweet mango. The sweetness is in comparison to like a, you know, like a good store bought Kent mango, you know. if you get a good Kent mangoes from the store, and usually those are pretty sweet and pretty good. Yeah. So it has sweetness, has really good sweetness. It has tartness, has some stone fruit components to it, kind of like the classical Florida mangoes. But it has that finish, that terpenes finish that kind of reminds me of guava, I guess. It's a very good mango. I mean, I definitely like this. I'll probably be trying to propagate a bit more of this and add it to some more of my trees. The only thing I would say that's the downside is that it doesn't have any strong kind of Florida mango smell to it, like a good Kent when it's ripening or anything like that, you know. And even when I'm eating it, the terpene smell is still at the end. Like you don't smell it, but you do smell it right when you cut it, but not when not really much of it afterwards. So that's the only thing. It doesn't really have that strong of a smell. So I'm not sure if I might have still picked this too early or not. You know, I still have one more on the tree, so I might want to experiment with that. But yes, this is it. This is ambrosia. Very pretty fruit, good sized fruit. Probably if you like, for those who like both like a classic Florida mango taste, but just want a twist of something more Indian kind of component to it, you know, you'll like this. Okay, and that is my review of the ambrosia mango. I was looking forward to this mango for quite some time, so thanks for tuning in, everyone.